to the W4M Roundtable. I just want to say thank you so much to everyone that is joining us today. We are just so grateful that you decided to come be part of our community. This is part of our outreach through Women for Mentors, which is an organization that's designed to help women that are returning to education, starting lives over. And we're trying to just really build a community, not just for our scholarship recipients, but also too just for everyday women, just like us, that, you know, whether you are a non-traditional student yourself, or maybe you've just started over later in life or started your own business, pivoted careers, we're just here to all help each other rise together. So again, thank you for being here. We're very excited today to be able to have this webinar. If you've been with us before, you'll notice it's a little different and it looks a little bit more professional. We're very thankful for our partnership with Pinnacle Strategic Advisors. They decided to come in and help us out and give us a little facelift. So this is real exciting for us and a great way for us to kind of finish off this year and be able to go into 2026 with a new purpose. Today, joining me, Tiffany Foster, President of Women for Mentors, is Jenny Overbay. She's one of our board members, and she's going to be helping to co-host and just run today's session. We're very excited about our guest. So Jocelyn Bermudez is a business owner, a leader, and she's got a really great story. I've known her for years, and I'm just so excited to be able to have her be able to share her story with you. She really embodies, I think, a lot of what we all experience, and why we're here is just kind of starting over, making your own path, finding your own journey. And so hopefully we'll be able to just glean some of the advice out of her so that we can all take a little something to be able to run with ourselves. So Jocelyn, married young, has raised children and has just built a thriving business. And so Jocelyn, thank you so much for being with us today. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited about this. And to your point, like, we all have had different journeys and paths. And so I think all of us coming together is going to be really good today. I'm excited.
Oh, great. Thank you. Well, let's just kick it off. You know, could you just, I guess, tell us a little bit, I'm so excited for everyone to get to hear about, you know, your story, your journey, and just what inspired you to just take the leap to where you are today into entrepreneurship?
Oh my gosh. Okay. We only have 1 hour. Okay.
You know,
it's really funny. I always joke that I did everything wrong. I did everything you weren't supposed to do. And I think, you know, as young girls and women, you know, you're going up through school and it's like, okay, well, you're going to go to school and then you're going to go to college and then you're going to get the job and then you're going to get the career and you're going to go up the career path and maybe you're going to be a mom and you're going to have that balance. And that's what your life is supposed to look like. And I feel like there's a lot of pressure right around that. And so for me, that was my expectation in life. And I got married really young. Not saying that I recommend to do that, right? So I married at 18. My husband's in the military.
Just a baby.
I was literally an infant child. So my husband was in the Army, right? And it was one of those things, like it was during 9/11. Got married and then was in college, and at 19, surprise, you're gonna have a baby. And so that really altered the course of my life and my career. I wound up having 2 children while I was in college. And it meant that I had to start and stop. It meant that I had to go part-time. I was able to finish my degree in 5 years instead of 4. And it was funny because at the time, like, here I was, I had moved 4 times. I'd had 2 children. I'm 23 years old. I finally got my bachelor's degree. And my first thought was like, I'm a failure because I should have done this a year earlier. Like, as a young woman, like, isn't that crazy?
Yeah, no, I know. It's such a thing that we all tend to do, is we're so critical of ourselves. Oh my gosh.
And now, right now I look back and I'm like, what you are a kick-ass human being. How did you do that? That was impossible.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, so I finished school and then I wound up working full-time for the health department. I worked in public health, and I enjoyed that work, right? But I've always been open to new experiences. So I always say that I've lived 1,000 lives. So I worked in public health full time, later transitioned to a job in medical device sales. So I traveled the entire Southeast visiting hospitals. In the middle of that, I did go back to school and I obtained my IBCLC. So I'm an internationally board certified lactation consultant also.
Oh my goodness. So,
We're
okay,
like-
so if anybody has any questions about that, they can ask
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, okay, yeah, exactly. Like, listen, like on the side for sure. So I'm like raising kids and I'm doing this work, and then
Yeah.
I was laid off from my job, and I decided to not work for a while, right? So I took time off and enjoyed that. I later went into hospice. I worked in a hospital part-time, and then when my kids got to be in middle school, my husband, I mean, it's crazy when you have children, right? And you're running around driving kids here, there, and everywhere. And my husband said, you should quit your job.
Oh.
Like, you're stressed. If you want to
Yeah.
quit your job, you can and you should. Like, I support that. And I was like, thank goodness. So I didn't work for, I don't know, like 4 years. And I drove kids around, right? That's what I did. I was the mom.
Which is a job in itself, like full time. Yeah.
It was. I mean,
Yeah.
and it is. And people are always like, oh, you're crazy. Like, why would you quit your job to raise middle school? Like, your kids are basically almost grown. And I'm like, no, this is the time where I feel like they needed me to be present.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened. Obviously, I wasn't shuttling kids' activities. And I was like, okay, I need to get a job now. Okay, back a little bit. So during COVID, I did a few years before I started working as a virtual assistant.
Mhm.
To get a little bit of background in sales and marketing, right? Digitally, because I had a background in that. So I was working, I don't know, 10 hours a week. That was my little fun money. So when COVID happened, I was like, okay, I'm going to go back to work. And I really struggled with getting anyone to give me a chance or hire me, because think about my career, right? I worked in public health, then I'm in sales, then I took a few years off, then I'm working part-time. I didn't have a good resume.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Even though you have a lot of experience in the middle of all that, you look at all the soft skills, all the technical skills, all the things that you collected over the years. But yeah.
But that's exactly it, right?
Yeah.
It's the big but, right? Oh,
Yeah.
well, you were only in this job for, like, it was so hard for me, and I
Mhm.
was so frustrated. And I mean, obviously there were jobs that people wanted to hire me, but it was at a very low rate. And I'm like, I did all of this. I don't want to go back into the workforce making $15 an hour. Like, I can't
Right.
do that.
Yeah.
And so I said, I'm not going to do this. I'm going to just start my own business. I'm going to hang up a shingle. I'm going to pay $600 to start an LLC. And I wanted to get like one customer. That was my whole goal. I want to get one customer. I want to get 10 hours a week at a good wage and like live my life. And then in 9 months, I had a 6-figure business.
Oh my gosh.
It was crazy. It was crazy, Tiffany. I don't understand it to this day. So that's kind of like how it all came to be, right?
Yeah.
It's like, I'm being a mom, I'm trying to figure out, I want to go back to work, and everyone's saying no. And I'm like, you know what, forget it. Then I'm going to make work for myself. And so that's what I did.
Oh my gosh. Well, one, like, congratulations, because that is a feat. I mean, honestly, and you pack in so much. You obviously have just a tenacity to just, go after things and get things done, because I mean, just from start to finish, I mean, the schooling you did while raising children, going back to work, raising children, and juggling everything. And then to have your business turn out to be so successful is so awesome and encouraging, I think, to all of us to, not everybody has the same story. And, sometimes people start business and there's like a lot of hiccups and things that go on, but it goes to show though, too, like, where there's a will, there's a way. And I think that one of the things that I'd like to delve into about that is going into a little bit about how you started that. I know before you had mentioned that you felt like there was no seats at the table, and I think that what made you confident that you could do this yourself? and that you were like, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna just start it. like what gave you that confidence to do that?
Well, I mean, first of all, ignorance is bliss, right? Like you don't know what you don't know. But like, here was the thing that I knew inside, right? After all these years of like, here's where I can actually bring value to people. And I think for me, going into my business, I really wanted to help people make their lives easier within their own business. And I knew that I had the skills to do that. And I did obviously have a background in sales. And so for me, it was like, I understand the methodology of every day waking up, being intentional, doing the thing that is going to get you to a place down the road. And so for me, I had a framework and a methodology, and I just believed that I could do it. And I think mindset is everything. Mm-hmm. Mindset is everything. Like whether you think you can or you can't, both answers are correct, right? Like it's all in your head in a lot of ways. So I do think that mindset of like, I'm going to do this, come hell or high water. These are the action steps I'm going to take every day, and then just working through it. And like I said, I started my business. It wasn't a huge success right away. Like every day for 4 months, I'm reaching out, I'm calling people, I'm doing like marketing. I had 56 connections on LinkedIn. Like it was hard. No one talked to me for 4 months. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I'll meet with you. And then, okay, can you do this project for me? And then I would get referrals, right? And so, but it sucked. It was hard in the very beginning because it was like crickets. And I had enough wherewithal to know, right, through my career, that's kind of how it is sometimes. And you just have to keep doing the right things and adjusting. And eventually, if you put the work in, it will come to fruition. And it's not going to be perfect. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to be knocked down sometimes, but you get up the next day and you try again. And that's really what kept me going, for sure.
I love that. So when do you think, can you think of a moment, a pivotal moment where you were able to just really see that you were defining success on your own terms instead of seeing it through the lens that, other people have and stuff?
Oh, that's a great question. I think probably this is, okay. I am obsessed with this software tool called Asana, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's how you use for project management, right? And so when I started my business, somehow, this wasn't even a service offering of mine. Somehow I got involved with teaching people how to use the tool. And through that, I had some connections. Anyway, I got invited to go to the headquarters at Asana, right?
Oh, wow.
So I've probably been in business for 2 years, and like I flew up to New York, and it was literally near where the World Trade Center was, and it was like up at the top floor, and I'm touring their offices, and I just had this moment of like, oh, no one would give me a chance. No one would give me a chance, and I would just have doors slammed in my face, and now I'm being served food on the top floor in New York City at like one of the largest software companies in the it was just a crazy moment for me of like, I actually did this like from scratch. And that's not to say that I had people help me along the way. Like that moment of like, I can't believe I'm actually here. And it's on my own work that I made it to this place. Anyway, it was really cool. It was really fun.
Oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. And what a cool, like, just perspective to have, like, to be like, oh my gosh, when you go, I came from where I came from starting from nothing. And I built it to get to this place. I mean, just a cool visual to have and awesome memory. That's so cool. Oh my gosh. And yeah, that sounds fun.
it was really fun. It's funny because I'll talk to them and I'll be like, can I come back to the headquarters, please?
Yeah.
See you guys.
Yeah. Like, hey guys. So how do you stay like on track, you know, from where you started to getting to today? Like, how do you keep yourself kind of like on the path that you're on so that you continuously are just growing and, you know, reaching your next, you know, goal or whatever, you know, your next milestone is to try. How do you stay true to your vision?
No, that's a great question. And I think I don't always stay true to my vision.
Okay.
And I think that's important, right? Because you
Ooh.
see women who are powerful and they're owning the business and they're doing the thing, and you're like, oh, I need to hustle and be more like that. I
Yeah.
am, sometimes I am full steam ahead and I wake up at 4 a.m. and I do the things, but sometimes I have to be still.
Mm,
And so for me, I think being able to move forward, one is about mindset, but it's also about knowing yourself and taking breaks, right? And understanding when it's time to really hit the pedal and
right.
when it's time to take a step back. I believe that it's important to you that you need to take care of yourself first, and prioritize that. I also think for me, one thing that's been a very important lesson is not falling into the comparison trap.
Ooh, yeah. What
And
does that look like?
yeah, and so we all do it as women,
Yeah.
right? It's like, oh, look at Sarah over there. She's such a good mom. And oh, she has a business and she, has a nice car. And oh, I wish I could be more like this person. And it's really easy to feel discouraged when you feel like everyone around you is doing better.
Yeah.
And so, especially earlier on in my career and through that time, that really got to me in my mindset. And so now I'm in a place where I'm like, I'm not paying attention to everyone around me. I'm looking in the mirror every day. Like
Mhm.
every day, I'm looking in the mirror and saying, regardless of what's going on around me, what is the one thing that you're going to do today that's going to make your life better, make your business better, make life easier for you? I really concentrate on being in a race with myself
Ooh, yeah.
versus all the people around me. And that keeps me in a good mindset, right? Like, listen, someone else might have an 8-figure business. I get those ads all the time. If you're a business owner, skilled 8 figures. And I'm like, okay, like I'm not to a place where I'm like, here's my lofty goals. I'm like, here's the small steps I need to take to eventually get to this place.
Mhm.
And that's what I do to keep going. And I think it's like celebrating small wins,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Sometimes business is going really great and I have a ton of projects. Sometimes it's slower. And it's like taking a step back and saying, okay, are we moving forward? We might not be sprinting, but are we moving forward? And when we are moving forward, celebrating that, because that's the only way sustainably to keep going.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. Yeah, it's just really pacing it and I love that you're saying just to be adaptable to, like you said, not because you can get caught in a rut and too hyper focused and to where that almost can be a stumbling block in itself, I think, for a lot of people, and really cause them to trip up along the way. So I love that it's really very fluid and taking care of yourself. That's something we talk about often here at the roundtable, is just self-care and making sure that you're in a good place. Because I think there's so many pressures, and for a woman, that's whether you're going back to school, starting your own business, doing whatever you're doing, we are hard on ourselves. Like you mentioned earlier, like it's like we sometimes are our worst critics. and
Yep, sure.
and that pressure, which is most of the time internal, really can take a toll. So I think this is a good reminder to everybody: just take a minute, take care of yourself, and don't look at all the negatives. Look at the little wins. I love that so much. Look at the little wins. So if you were going to give just a little nugget, to, another woman that maybe wants to start something new, whether it's a new business or they're taking a big leap into a different career path or something like that, but they want to start over, they want to start something new. What advice would you give them about making sure that they have the right support, and background in place, to be able to navigate that?
It's a great question. I mean, I think first of all, you have to have a plan or
Mhm.
some semblance of a plan, right?
Yeah.
And so I think that understanding where you want to go, right? And what are the steps that I need to do to get there? And I think once you identify that, right, then you can say, okay, well, what do I need? Right? Because once you know where you need to go and what needs to happen to get there, then you can start pulling in resources, right? So if you're trying to go back to school and you have young kids, right? Well, how am I going to accomplish that? Do I need someone to help with childcare? Or do I need to cut back on my job a little bit? And what does that look like? And what resources do I need to pull in there? And who is available to support me, right? Same for mentorship, right?
Yeah.
If you're starting a business, do you have a mentor? And I have a lot of wonderful mentors, right? And women that I work with that I've learned so much from. And I think tapping into people that have more experience than you in whatever you're looking to do is key. And I joke all the time, like, I want to surround myself with people that are smarter than me.
Right?
Like,
that's the goal. Yeah. Please tell me all the things that you know that I don't know.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? So it's like, who are those people, right? If you're going back to school and it's hard, like, talk to someone else who's done it. And I think you also have to be open and be flexible, right? To say it might not be perfect, but you have to trust. And it's funny, I'm obsessed with this Steve Jobs, which is such a cliche, but it's a Steve Jobs lecture that he did. And he talks about you can't connect the dots going forward, you can only connect them going backward. So you have to trust that the dots will connect in the future. And so I do think, like, trusting the process and believing in yourself with whatever that transition is important.
Well, I love that too. And I think that, to piggyback off of that as well, is sometimes bringing those other mentors and those other people in your lives is honestly just bringing a different, fresh perspective. And it's a way that you don't think. And there's so much value in that, and not getting stuck in, well, the way I see this is the best way, because it might not be, it sometimes isn't. And it's so great if we can get to a place where we can, communicate and collaborate with people that are different than us, because that's how you can make the scope of what you're doing bigger,
Oh, 1,000%. You need to have other people. Like, no one is successful on their own. Like, you need to identify those people that are going to help you. And I think one thing that's important too, especially like as women, you need to pay attention to the people who are clapping when you win.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, because, like, how many of us have had relationships with people where it's like, it's not mutual, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like we all have our own time. And I do think celebrating each other is important, and finding your support system's key.
Yeah. So this actually kind of ties into, we do have an interesting question in the chat. It's just, what advice would you give for making connections and networking? So that's a pretty good one. That ties a little bit into what we were just talking about. But yeah, like, what's your strategy for kind of just networking and making those connections and building that? I mean, you have, I think, one of the best stories ever is being able to go on that trip and getting invited up to the tower, So I think how do you approach that? Because networking isn't always, and connecting isn't always everybody's strong point. And sometimes people can be really good on the business side, but sometimes stepping out into that world is a little scary, because you have to be very vulnerable and go out there and make a lot of small talk and all the things that I think we can all agree. There's all those things that are a little like womp womp, on the on the side of it.
But, no, 1,000%.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that we, especially now, we need to approach networking differently, right? Because there's so many different ways that you can reach people. So from my perspective, I do a lot of networking on LinkedIn, right? I'll connect with people. I always try to find people of people I know, right? Because I think that's important. So, I mean, you might know someone really important, Tiffany, and I could say, hey, do you know Joe? Would you be open to me reaching out to him? I mean, so I think connecting with people digitally is important part of networking. And then for me, I am involved in different groups, like in my community. I do a lot of work in finance for my business. And so I happened to reach out to someone who has a group here where I live, and that's something that I attend monthly. I think Chamber of Commerce and different organizational groups that hold meetings are good. So you can just go meet people, shake hands. And then I think, what does your community network look like? And as a mom, and this is important for people that are going back to school or moms, and don't laugh at me for this, but I was the PTA president for a long time.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, I think that like supporting schools is really important. But anyway, like I have a lot of connections in my community from volunteering, right?
Yeah.
So like if you're involved in your kid's school or a church or a school group or whatever it is, connecting with people that way, not for the purpose of business, like that's never my intention. Guess what? People know that I own a business. I talk about my business. I talk about why I do what I do. And then people will think of me, right? They'll be like, oh, I actually know someone that you could help. And so for me, I think it's about forming relationships, being active in the community, and then identifying where are the areas where I want to network that makes sense for me, and then leveraging LinkedIn. I think if you have a combination of that, that's helpful. I also hate small talk. I am not good at it. I'm an introverted extrovert, so
I get it.
like I'm exhausted.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll hear about your dog. It's fine. So like you have to, so you have to find what works for you. And it takes time. And I think you need to be willing to do things that suck, right? Like you might, like at the end of the day, I don't always want to go to this event at 7 p.m. I worked a long day, but it's like, okay, I'm going to get up, even though I don't want to do it, and I'm going to do the thing. And so networking can be that way for a lot of people, but you have to do it. Like it's key.
Yeah. I think too, that what that made me think of is, you know, to encourage myself, I always have to go, because, you know, at some point somebody turned over the keys and said, you're an adult now, you have to go do the stuff, you know, and I'm like, it would be so much easier, I feel like, if I still had somebody telling me to go do the things, you know. But that's where you have to kind of police yourself a little and be like, go do it. You don't want to, doesn't matter.
Well, and but the good thing is, so there's science behind this. Every time you do something that you don't want to do, it grows your brain.
Ooh.
So
well,
it like helps with brain growth. And like,
yes.
I'm like, I'm obviously not a neurologist, but like it does something to your synapses that's good. So
I mean, I am taking that and running with it. I'm gonna just keep doing all the things and just feel like I've got big brain energy going on. So.
Every night I do the dishes, I'm like, my brain is just growing so much.
Yes. I love that. Oh my goodness. Well, this is a good point, I think, too, that I'm going to turn it over to Ginny, so that Ginny can jump in and ask some questions and chat with you just a little bit.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, this conversation has been awesome so far. I feel like you're really kind of covering all the bases, from like totally starting fresh, like the messy middle part when you're trying to figure out what you're doing, and you know, kind of starting over and sort of redefining your path a little bit. Some statistics that I was looking at are that, you know, studies show that nearly half of women say that their career path looks nothing like they imagined. I relate to that. Like sometimes thinking back, I would have never expected to be any of the places that I've been. So why do you think that kind of redefining your journey from what you thought you were going to do and then kind of your starts and stops, like why is that becoming such an important conversation, especially for women?
I mean, to your point, most women aren't in careers that they thought they would be in, and I think there's a lot of reasons for that, right? Like one, let's be real, opportunity is a big part of that. I can't tell you how many meetings I'm on a daily basis where I'm the only woman in the room on an executive call, right? And so I do think that there are some limits there that women have to overcome. I think that's one part of it. And I think that obviously motherhood is a big piece of that, because you go into life not know. Like for me, the minute I had my babies, I was like, I don't care about ever being in an office. I don't care about a paycheck. I just want to be with you all the time, right? And so for me, and for a lot of moms, that really changes their perspective on things, which alters their career paths, right? And part of that too, you know, it's harder for women in the workforce, right? Because they're typically the ones who are doing the second shift, right?
Mhm.
They're carrying the mental load. If a kid is sick, it's usually the mom taking off work, not the dad, right? And I think all of that is impactful. But here's the thing, that doesn't mean that it has to be impossible, and it doesn't mean that it has to be bad.
Mhm.
And so for me, it's like, okay, I was denied opportunities because I did this thing that was important for my family. But in the long run, it brought me so much, right? Like I wouldn't be where I am today if I hadn't taken that time off, been able to adjust and shift. So I do think, like, even if you're not where you think you were supposed to be, I believe that everyone has a perfect plan for their life and that things happen the way that they're supposed to. And I think being able to accept where you are and know that it's part of a bigger picture is super important. I mean, I feel that way now. Like here I am right now. I still have many years left. Am I going to be doing this forever? I don't know. Maybe I'm going to write a book. Maybe I'll be a TikTok star. I don't know what the future holds. And I'm just open to the possibility. And I think for women, just taking a step back, not being so hard on yourself, and just be open to the possibility of what could be, and not mourning what you think your life should look like is so important.
Mhm. Oh, I totally agree. Something I've heard recently, it was probably like on Instagram or something like that, but I tend to be a bit of a pessimist. I consider myself a realist, leaning towards pessimist, but yeah, it was about career advancement and specifically women in the workplace and everything, kind of dealing with things. But something that I think shifted my mindset a little bit was the idea that when something's happening, you're presented with some like complications, or you're not sure what's going to happen, instead of instantly being like, oh, these are all the ways it could go wrong, kind of asking yourself, but what if it went well? Like, what if it worked out? And that's been really big for me, I would say this year in particular, just trying to think of that a little differently when presented with a challenge, like asking myself, what if it actually worked out this time? You know, it might not go poorly. What if it actually goes well?
Right. And no, that's actually great strategy. There's actually, I don't know if any of you guys follow Mel Robbins. She did a talk about like your internal dialogue and how like the things that you say to yourself in your own head impact your filter, right? And so like that was really eye-opening for me. So literally every day I'm like, everything works out for me. I just say that in my head all the time. So like you just start to believe it, right? So then you'll start to see things that are like working out for you and you're like, wow, everything really does work out for me. It's like how do I trick my brain into believing things are going to be good? And but to your point, if you're constantly worried about like all the things that could go wrong, they might go wrong, or you're going to identify like, okay, we're going down this path. And maybe it's that maybe I'm just delusional by believing that everything just works out for me, but like I kind of am vibing with it. It's keeping me in a good spot. So
I think that's an energy goes where energy flows type of situation then too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I want to start saying that everything works out for me too. So
every day, Jenny, just look in the mirror. Everything just works out for me.
Yep. No, I think that's great. And we had a comment in the chat kind of tying into this and what you were saying earlier, that often if something doesn't go the way we think it is or the way we planned for it, you know, we can be pretty hard on ourselves, blame ourselves, like, oh, this didn't work out because ABC, I didn't do that thing, or I shouldn't have done this other thing, something like that. And kind of basically saying we're the reason, we're the culprit to why this thing didn't work out.
I mean, that's womanhood, isn't it? It's like It's like, how do we get past that? I mean, it's hard. And I think everyone deals with it. And I don't think we talk about that enough,
Mhm.
and we blame ourselves for everything. And
Exactly. We're the
it's
villain
hard.
in our own story.
Exactly. Right. Exactly.
Something you said kind of at the beginning of the call that I thought was funny, because I tend to do this to myself a lot at work, is like, even if I do something well, it's like I'm happy for a second, and then I'm like, oh, I should have, like, it took me half an hour to figure something out. Oh, I should have been able to figure it out in 15 minutes. Instantly kind of taking part of my win away. So I think that a lot of what you're saying with just kind of, celebrating the wins, taking it a step at a time, all those are really great, like practical steps. And then I'm definitely liking the idea of the positive affirmations to ourselves. So I think that's a really good practical takeaway too. But kind of around that, how do you stay motivated? Like if things aren't working out maybe as quickly as you wanted, you had a giant pivot and started your business, and like you said, for 4 months, no one would even talk to you. So how do you stay motivated in those times?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. I think having the ability to step back and have a clear head is important. And like even in my current role, right? Like I'm running a business. When you run a business, guess what? Things go wrong all the time. You get this surprise thing from the IRS and this customer's website's down when you can't figure it out, whatever it is. And so for me, when I'm feeling like that or like I'm feeling unmotivated, I take a step back. And so, my coworkers, my employees will tell you all the time. Sometimes I'll just slack people and say, I'm going for a mental health walk. And so that's
Mhm.
for me is taking a step back and being out of the situation and going outside and just walking and thinking it through really puts me in a place where I'm not in it. And I'm like, okay, it's not the end of the world, right? Like, take a deep breath, take a step back, and then when I come back, I can come back to it with a fresh perspective. Um, and I always tell people, I laugh whenever I go on vacation. I feel like the business runs better because I'm taking a break, right? And like I'm empowering people, and then I'm coming back with a new set of eyes. And I think it's important, right? When you're feeling discouraged, when you're in the middle of doing something really hard, take a break and go back to it. Like I think that's important so that you can just clear your head for a minute.
Or good advice, just take a vacation.
Take a vacation. Take a vacation. Take a mental health walk. Like, I mean, truly. And it's funny because my husband is in that habit too. Now, he works a very stressful job. And after dinner, every night, we go for a mental health walk, right? Because we need that all day, every day. You're dealing with problems. And so it's important to like take that step back and do something that brings you joy. So if taking a mental health walk doesn't bring you joy, do one thing that brings you joy, and then go right back to your work when you're in a place where you're feeling more resourceful. Don't be taking mental health walks 7 hours a day and only working 1 hour a day. You gotta temper it a little bit, but I do think you need to be able to recognize when it's being productive and not. And like when I'm in a place where things aren't going well, like my work's not going to be good. I'm not going to be delivering good work. I'm going to be grumpy to people, and it's just not going to work out in the long run. So I'm going to take a time out and then I'll come back,
I think that's great advice. I have a coworker who swims. She loves to swim, so
That's
she
awesome.
always carves out some time during her day because she was always trying to like fit it in before work or after work, and then ultimately it was like best if she just actually took that hour break, went for a swim in the middle of the day. It was good for her for lots of reasons, but especially just like you said, taking that kind of step back so that you're way fresher when you come back to it. Yeah, so I think that's great advice. Thinking about if someone is kind of at the beginning, so let's say they are like in a place where their career stalled, or maybe it just like didn't really happen, or they were totally derailed and they're kind of starting over, kind of creating that, building their own table, kind of going back to the beginning where it's like, I need a seat at the table. There is no table. I'm going to make my own. Like, what are some kind of small steps that a person can take to get started? Because it can feel kind of daunting, starting a totally new path. So what are some small things they can do?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think absolutely taking a step back and understanding where you want to go is key, right? And I think understanding and accepting the work that needs to happen to get to that place is hard, right? And I think about myself, right? Like, here I was at 21. I'm pregnant with my second child. I'm trying to get through college, right? I don't know what my life is going to look like. I mean, we're living paycheck to paycheck, and it was so hard. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, I don't know how I'm going to do this. So instead of focusing on like, I know where I'm going, but I would say like, what do I need to do to get through today? And what do I need to do to get through tomorrow? Like, so I stopped thinking about like all the things that needed to happen because it was so overwhelming. And it was like, focus here. And actually, it's funny. I talk about being a lactation consultant. And I think that trained me in crisis management, right? Because I would go in, I worked in the hospital, and I'd go in to see new mamas, and they would be crying and melting down. And I'd say, what's going on? And they'd say, oh, my baby's crying. I have to go back to work in 6 weeks. I don't know what I'm going to do, right? And so for me, it was like, okay, well, we're not thinking about 6 weeks. What are we going to do in the next hour that's going to make this better for you? Okay, and then I'll come back in an hour. And then in an hour, okay, you ate and you showered. Okay, now what are we going to do the next hour? And what are we going to do tomorrow? And what are we going to do the next day? So if you can focus on that piece, things will start getting better, right? So I think that's important, right? Focusing on a little bit at a time. And I think not doing too many tasks is important too, right? So you might need to do 10 things to get where you need to be. Well, you can't do 10 things all at once. So I'm going to do this one thing. I'm going to do this one thing, and I get really good at doing this one thing. I'm just going to get up every day and I'm going to do the action, right? And then once I'm in the habit of that, then I'm going to add something else in, and then it makes that growth kind of actionable. And I think that's important, because when we try to just work so hard, do too many things, and just focus on the big picture, it's hard to gain momentum. And I think lastly, it's important to recognize that it's hard, acknowledge it, and to tell yourself and know that you can do hard things.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, my teenage daughters hated when I would tell them that, because that's my thing I say all the time when things were hard. And listen, sometimes things are hard and there's nothing you can do to make it easier. I'd say, listen, you can do hard things, and you do hard things. And every single day, a lot of women get up and they do hard things. And I think that empowers you as a woman of like, I'm struggling right now and this is hard, but I can do hard things. And so I do think when you're at the bottom, you feel like you're at the bottom of the hole and you're looking all the way up, and the sunlight is way up there, and you think, how am I going to get out of this? Like, you need to know that it's inside of you. You can do it. It's not going to be easy, but that's okay. And I think that's important,
Yeah, no, that's great. I think that's an excellent point, that it's very easy to get sort of paralyzed when you're going too big picture. You're thinking, in 20 years, I need to be able to retire, and I'm not even close. And so you'll kind of shut down. So instead of thinking, it's not bad to think ahead, but sometimes that will just stop you from doing anything. Like, you'll just feel totally incapable of taking one step, because like, you're thinking about the other 100,000 steps you have to take after that. So I like the idea of just the small thing, like, what do I need to do today? And then tomorrow, what do I need to do today? And then kind of as you take those steps, gain confidence, then you might be able to start forecasting a little bit more down the road. But you don't have to start there. You don't have to start with your 15-year plan.
Exactly. No, that's exactly. And it's funny. Somebody sent me something recently, and it was like, if you ask to win a marathon, God's not going to send you a medal. He's going to send you a pair of running shoes. And like, for me, I was like, yes, like that just connects with me, right? Because it's like, oh yeah, I got to do the work. This is, man, well, I'll do it. Okay.
I love that. I love that.
So
I'm going to say that to myself. I'm going
Yeah.
to feel that and tell myself, you can do hard things.
Yes. I can do hard things and everything works out for me.
I love it. I know what I'm starting tomorrow with. So
Exactly.
as we're sort of getting a little closer to wrapping up, I had a couple of just quick questions for you. What is one thing you wish you'd learned sooner?
Oh, that's a great question. One thing that I wish I learned sooner was that it's okay to fail, right? It's okay when things don't go your way, and it's a lesson and it's valuable. And I think about that all the time of like, okay, here's all the things in my life that went horribly wrong, but actually it was just preparing me for what was next. And so I wish that I had that line of sight earlier on in my career. But you can't learn. You don't know what you don't know. And so I think that would have made my life a little bit easier and probably made me a little less anxious as I was going through this journey. For sure.
Yeah, that's a very important lesson that we all eventually learn, I think, different times. And my final one to wrap up is what would be like one sentence, if you just had one sentence of advice for a woman who's in the midst of redefining her journey, what would that be?
I think my one piece of advice would be, you're not in a race with everyone else. You're in the race with yourself, right? It would be, shut out all the noise. This is more than one sentence. It would be like, this is about you. It's about you. It's not about everyone else. Who cares what everyone else is doing? Who cares if everyone's doing better or whatever? Like, this is about you. What do you need to do? And really focusing internally versus externally, I believe gets you where you need to be.
Yeah, that's great. And they can take any of those sentences.
Exactly.
Pick whichever
Just
one
like
you
10
like.
sentences. There you go. Sorry, I'm
No, that was great. That's great.
Well, I just want to say I am so glad we got to talk to you today, Jocelyn. I mean, like, and thank you just for reminding us just, how the path to defining your own journey, it can come in many different forms, but, just sharing your own personal journey to getting to where you are today, and just encouraging us all a little bit to be able to just keep putting one foot in front of the other, which is all we all do. We all just get up and do our best. I always say, like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just show up.
For sure. Fake it till you make it.
Showing up is half the battle.
Right. For sure.
But yeah, no, I appreciate it. And, so I'd just like to give you a moment too, just to share a little bit about, your business and just how people can reach you if anybody wants to connect with you and, be able to speak to you or work with you further.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And thanks for having me here. I've really enjoyed this. This has been great. Yeah, so a little bit about what we do. So I own a digital solutions company, which is so fun. So we take technology and humans and try to integrate them to make your business and your life better. So we do digital strategy, consulting, process automation and optimization, CRM setups, website management and security. We do Google Ads management. We're full service digital marketing agency, and we have creative services as well. So we build solutions to help make your life easier in your business, which is so fun. And like, for me as a mom, I have to tell you, what I love most about my business is that I can come in and see a problem and be like, okay, this is how we're going to use technology to fix it. And like the relief sometimes is like, oh, I don't have to do this manually anymore. Like it's gonna save me so much time. And I'm like,
my gosh.
yeah, it's like, yeah, now you can go pick up your kids and have fun. So I do love that part of our job. It's like we make people's lives easier with technology. And people always can reach out to me via my email, which is jocelyn@jmbdigitalsolutions.com. Or they could just go to our website, which is revolutionizeyourwork.com. And we offer like free strategy sessions. So if people want consultations about, you know, talking about their key business goals or how they want to use AI to help optimize their workflows, we'll do that for them. And then we also offer free domain audits as well. So if anyone's interested, let me know.
Awesome. And I will say I have worked with Jocelyn before. She's amazing. So reach out to her.
Sydney, you're amazing. Thank you.
Oh, well, I appreciate you. And to our audience, anybody that's, you know, joined us today, just thank you so much for being here with us and, you know, just being part of our community at W4M Roundtable. If you have, you know, any interest in finding out more about, you know, either being part of our organization or how to donate to us, you can reach us at womenformentors.com and or connect with us on LinkedIn. All of us are always available and excited to get to know people and just build our little community even more. So appreciate y'all, and until next time, let's just all keep rising together.
Let's keep going. Bye, guys. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.